Hey guys, VegasPenguin. Now, first things first, the gameplay in the background is absolutely insane. I get 101 kills, go absolutely off. I end up with like 30 more kills than all of my teammates combined. We still lose, but who cares about win-loss? What I want to talk about today is what Sledgehammer needs to do for their next game to be successful. And already point right out of the break, their next game is Boots on the Ground, and that's already a big thumbs up. We've been waiting for this for so long, 3 years too long, and finally back on to the Boots on the Ground. But the first thing, other than Boots on the Ground, I would like to bring up is they need to really listen to the community. Past few games, I mean, Treyarch's always done a good job of doing it. This is mainly just in the eyes of Infinity Ward. Infinity Ward just barely listens to the community, if at all. They seem to do everything the community doesn't want them to do, and that you can't have that and still expect the people to play a game and fully enjoy it. Like competitive wise, they don't listen to the competitive community. Pub wise, they seem to not listen to the pub community at all, and that's not a good flow. You need to have a good relationship between the developers and the players. That's really shown through Treyarch's style. Treyarch is really they really lean towards the public community to give them feedback, and just that's something Sledgehammer needs to do for their next game. Second point I would like to bring up is they need to have good maps. This game right here, Infinite Warfare, has terrible maps. To me, Genesis is really the only good map in this game, and it's a remake of Strike Zone. So you can't have bad maps. Looking back at AW, there was quite a few good maps. You know, like Riot, Comeback, Retreat, I believe it's called. Yeah, there was a lot of good maps, in my personal opinion, in AW. But there was also a lot of terrible maps. So they need to finally get like a good balance of maps. And then once they bring out DLC maps need to be good. I don't really remember any good DLC AW maps, not at the top of my head. And so far through the first DLC of Infinite Warfare, it's been absolutely crap. And so DLC is very important, because if you have good DLC maps, it really increases the longevity of people playing your game. Now this is a big point I want to bring up. These next two items, no variants and no specialists. Now, Advanced Warfare was the first one to introduce us to weapon variants, and that was the worst thing I've ever witnessed in the history of Call of Duty. You can't have a balanced public match when you have guns in a game that not everyone has, and that are statistically better than other guns, statistically better than its base variant. And the fact that not everyone can have the same weapon as you, that's bullshit in my personal opinion, and they cannot bring it back into the game, especially if it's a past setting. I don't know how they would be able to bring in weapon variants. To me, that just makes no sense. And number two, I want to bring up specialists. Specialists were introduced in Black Ops 3. We played them in Infinite Warfare, and to me, they totally ruined the flow of the game. I mentioned this in a previous video, but it's not fair if someone's doing terrible and then they get a claw and then they just shred you. That shouldn't be how things work out, you know? It's basically running support streaks from NW3, but like, instead of just one thing like a bombing run, there are so many different things that just ruin the flow of the game. And they also ruin the flow of competitive matches, and I really hope specialists are just gone and never return to Call of Duty ever again. Now, next thing I want to bring up is gun variety. Now, when you have weapon variants, it does increase the weapon variety, but since weapon variants are statistically better, not everyone has it, you need to have a good gun variety overall. You look at past games, Black Ops 2 had a really great gun variety. You could pretty much use any gun in Black Ops 2 and do well with it. Same thing in Ghost, in my personal opinion. You could pick up any gun and go absolutely to town with it. If you look at the base guns of Advanced Warfare, really the only guns that you could do well with is the BAL and ASM one. This game needs to have much more gun variety, because if you just have two dominant guns and competitive scene, and just a public match scene as well, it doesn't create a fun flow, you know? Because when there's only two guns, it makes it feel like it is a competitive match, just because there's no variety, and you're constantly getting killed by like a BAL or an ASM one. That just isn't right. When you have gun variety, you don't restrict your playstyle. You can pretty much play every map however you want, because you have more than just one gun you have to use. So I feel like that's something they really need to focus on for their next game. And what I want to talk about next is also deals with variety, but this time it's about perk variety. If you look at AW, the variety wasn't really good. I feel like that's a big problem with the pick 13 is like you don't get as much variety as you can. If you look at Ghost had the most perks in God history, and you could do so many different setups. And problem with AW is it had crutch perks when it comes to pubs. I believe in like the slot 3 there was toughness, blast suppressor, and scavenger all in the same setting, the same perk slot, and that's a difficult like decision you have to make. Whether you don't want to have flinch, whether you want to be able to pick up ammo, or if you want to be silent for jetpacks. Because jetpacks back in AW were insanely loud, and I feel like with this next hot, they really need to have perk variety, just so that you can pretty much run whatever you want to, whatever like situation that can comes to mind, with no sort of crutchness of having to pick one over the other. Now, next thing is a personal opinion of mine. I feel like they really need to listen to the competitive community, but I don't want them to force the competitiveness onto the public community. Back in the AW, they tried to do that forcing by doing the competitive rule set of search and destroy and implementing it in the pubs. So instead of a 5-second defuse time, it was a 7.5 defuse time, and they just kept. They really need to keep that separation between public and competitive, in my personal opinion. Like, although yes, you do want to have public and competitive be somewhat similar, you don't want to force the competitiveness onto public players, because COD isn't really just a public game. It's built for the public eye. And competitive is sort of something that just comes out of that. And as a competitive player who loves playing like S&D, if they listen to the competitive players when it comes to the competitive rule set, and I know I'm saying competitive a lot, Jesus Christ, but if they listen to the rule set that the players want, I feel like it can make for a really good year coming up, and it'll be really fun to watch. And so that's why I'm really excited for it, because Glenn Schofield, Mike Condrey, they used to go to a lot of events when like their game was about to come out, and they seem to pay attention to the competitive community much more than the Infinite Warfare developers have. So that's really good, and I feel like they definitely will, listening a lot to the what the pros have to say, whether it be on Reddit or anything else. But hopefully they do, because if they do, it's going to be a really fun year for competitive. And when competitive's going well, public matches are going to be going well, and it just creates a really good flow together. Now, finally, what I want to talk about is streaks. AW pretty much had terrible score streaks. In my personal opinion, the best streak in AW was the Walker tanks, and that's something you got out of the care package on comeback. Walker tanks were OP as hell, and the bombing run was pretty OP as hell. But other than that, there really weren't good streaks. The Paladin being the highest streak in the game wasn't really all that good. Pretty average, I would say. And if you have good streaks, like Black Ops 2 did, Black Ops 1, Modern Warfare 3, then there's much more of a goal for pub stars to play. But a major problem Advanced Warfare had that I really hope they fix is the points that you get from capturing flags or getting a kill. Back in AW, your home flag was 200 points, and that's just not right. Just because it's your home flag, and every other COD has been 50 points. And 200, that is such a big factor in your streaks that if let's say you go into the end of a round and you're 250 points off of a system mac in AW, all you need to do is cap your home flag and get a couple assists and you're good. That's 200 is way too much. I really hope they balance it out. Just the basic 50, 200 cap, or maybe just 150 cap and then 100 per kill. This game had 75 per kill, and that really messed it up how you got your streaks. And the last big important piece that I would like to include that Sledgehammer needs to do for their next game to be successful is not, for the love of God, have skill-based matchmaking. Matchmaking needs to be based off a connection. There's so many games in Infinite Warfare where I'm lagging in the game. I don't know why that's the thing. I don't sense any skill-based matchmaking in Infinite Warfare, but skill-based matchmaking was such a vital part of Advanced Warfare, just because you had so many people reverse boosting. You gotta think, people literally bought paid accounts for a terrible KD. That was a thing during AW, and that just can't be another thing again, because it really just ruins the experience when every match you go was like a competitive match. And like I said earlier, you have to distance the competitive matches and the public matches. And when you have skill-based matchmaking, you have everyone going like as dumb hard as you can every game, and that's just not fun. You can't go another year of having people trying to get a .0.000000005 KD. That's just not right. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know if I missed out on anything that you guys would like to see in Sledgehammer's next game for it to be successful. Let me know if you agree with any of the points I made. I really hope you enjoyed the gameplay in the background. I'm pretty sure I'm getting close to the 100 bomb. I think I had 97 right there. And my hands were shaking so bad right here, like they were starting to go numb just because I was so nervous. I really wanted to get this 100 because I never gotten it on Infinite Warfare before. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Appreciate it a ton, and I'm out.